California, rapper A$AP Rocky declines a plea deal on the eve of the start of his trial. The rapper, whose real name is Rakim Mayers, is charged with 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. The deal would have sent him to jail for 180 days, but he now faces up to 24 years in prison if he's convicted by a jury.
In and of itself does not mean that your client is guilty. That's the way we're going to deal with this, and that's the final ruling. I don't want to hear anything more about it. That's the end of the issue for now. Are both sides ready for the jury?
Rocky's on trial, and Robyn is absolutely losing it. Word on the street is that poor Rihanna is looking devastated. Her boyfriend, baby daddy, and practically her hubby might miss their kids' birthdays for the next 20-plus years. A$AP Rocky's trial has officially kicked off, and it's already turning into a full-blown spectacle. From the judge flirting with Rocky's mom to witnesses dropping explosive bombshells in court, this case is nothing short of chaos. And Rocky's lawyers? They've been pulling some savage moves that have left the prosecution stumbling in shock. But here's where it gets really wild. Prosecutors actually offered Rocky a plea deal. He could have pleaded guilty to just 1 felony assault charge, taken some anger management classes, done a bit of community service, and walked away with a suspended sentence. But Rocky said no. And now the internet is completely divided. Some think he's insane for rejecting what they're calling a sweetheart deal, while others say the deal was garbage because Rocky didn't even do what they're accusing him of. And then there's the Tory Lanez comparison. People are saying that if Tory got 10 years, things aren't looking too hot for Rocky either. But just how bad are the odds against him? And where does Rihanna stand in all of this? Let's dive in. For those who haven't been keeping up, A$AP Rocky is currently on trial for allegedly firing shots at his own friend, A$AP Relly, who, by the way, is a member of Rocky's own A$AP crew. Can you believe this? Now, you'd think this would be a simple case. Rocky did it, or he didn't. Case closed, right? Wrong. This case has more twists and turns than a daytime soap opera. And the internet? Losing its mind. A lot of people are saying there shouldn't even be a case in the first place. Here's where it gets messy. This all started over money. A$AP Rocky and A$AP Relly got into a heated fight because Relly was convinced that Rocky didn't pay for the funeral of one of their crew members who passed away. For some context, before A$AP Rocky became the superstar we all know today, he was part of A$AP Mob, the collective that gave him the A$AP in his name. The A$AP Mob was formed in 2006 in Harlem, New York, bringing together rappers, record producers, video directors, and even fashion designers. You could always recognize them because they all added A$AP to their names. A$AP Rocky, A$AP Ferg, A$AP 12E, A$AP Relly, and more. Since Rocky became the biggest name and likely the richest member of the crew, people expected him to step up and take care of his guys. So when one of their members passed away in 2021, the expectation was clear. Rocky should cover at least some, if not all, of the funeral costs. But A$AP Relly believed Rocky turned his back on the crew and didn't pay a dime. That's when things exploded. Relly confronted Rocky, and the two got into a fiery argument, just 1 block away from the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And then came the moment that shook everything. Rocky pulled out a gun. There's actual CCTV footage capturing parts of the altercation. In the clip, Rocky and Relly are physically going at it. Someone jumps in to break them up, and just when things seem to cool down, Rocky pulls out his piece. But then, in a shocking twist, we see him tuck it back in. What was really going on here? According to Relly, the drama didn't stop there. He claims Rocky pulled out the gun again and actually fired at him, with one of the bullets grazing his knuckles. Relly says he eventually got medical treatment after flying back to LA. But here's where things get sketchy. He didn't go to the cops until days later. Think about it. If you really got shot at and actually hit, wouldn't the first thing you do be getting help and calling the police immediately? But waiting days to do both? That's suspicious. And Rocky's legal team is eating this up, using it as proof that the whole thing is a setup. To make things even murkier, the best footage of the incident is grainy at best, and it doesn't fully capture what went down. So, at this point, both sides are completely reliant on witness testimonies. And guess what? The prosecution's star witness, ASAP Rocky, is flopping hard. Instead of making a convincing case, he's just fueling the internet's theory that he's not just a jealous ex-friend, but also a full-blown snitch. Fans are calling him out for dragging police into an internal ASAP mob dispute instead of handling it quietly. Let's be real. If you have beef with your own crew and instead of keeping it in the circle, you run to the cops, that's giving rat behavior. And Rocky's legal team? They're running with it. During opening statements, Rocky's lawyer, Joe Tacopina, did not hold back. He told the court, "This case is about one man's jealousy, rooted in greed. This is all about money, plain and simple. A clear-cut case of extortion, period. End of story." But hold on. This isn't even the messiest part. The trial officially kicked off on January 24th, and there's already a massive controversy shaking things up. The jury selection alone has the internet raging. The panel consists of 7 women and 5 men, but not a single one of them is black. Let that sink in. Both the accused and the alleged victim are black, and this trial is happening in Los Angeles. So people are asking, how is there not even one black juror? And it's not just fans who are raising eyebrows. The controversy has gotten so big that Reverend Al Sharpton himself has jumped into the conversation. Reverend Al Sharpton didn't hold back when addressing the jury controversy. He made it clear that he's been in close contact with Rocky's friends, and while he might not know every single detail of the case, one thing is certain: Rocky deserves a fair trial. Sharpton stated, "It is absolutely ridiculous that the jury will not be fair and representative, essentially depriving ASAP Rocky of his constitutional right to be judged by his peers. How is it that in a city like Los Angeles, where 4 out of every 10 people are black, not a single black juror was among the first 30 candidates? Something about this system is completely off." And if you think that's shady, wait until you hear about the police investigation. When Relly finally went to the police and reported the shooting, investigators rushed to the scene. But guess what? They found nothing. Not a single shell casing. No evidence that a shooting even happened. But here's where things get downright bizarre. After an entire police team combed the area and walked away empty-handed, Relly himself allegedly returned to the scene later and suddenly found shell casings. And then, as if that wasn't sketchy enough, he personally brought them to the police as evidence. So let's get this straight. The trained professionals found 0 evidence, but Relly magically discovered shell casings after they left? Make it make sense. Fans are calling this out as one of the biggest red flags in the whole case, and honestly, they have a point. What kind of jury would actually buy this nonsense? But the biggest shocker came when Rocky flat out rejected a plea deal. He's currently facing 2 counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm.
Robyn is
if convicted, he could be looking at up to 24 years behind bars. So when prosecutors offered him a deal, most people assumed he'd take it. The plea bargain? Rocky would plead guilty to 1 felony count, serve 6 months in jail, get a 7-year suspended sentence, plus 3 years of probation, 500 hours of community service, and anger management classes. And yet, he said no. As jury selection kicked off, Rocky was spotted heading in and out of the LA courtroom. And you have to wonder, is he feeling nervous about the trial?